Okay. So it says this stream is live. So let's see how this works here. I'm just doing some live streaming to test out how it works. So I figured I'd set it up today and see if I could get it figured out. And if it all works out good, then I can do live broadcasts like once a week or every couple weeks or something. Maybe pick different dinosaur that I'm sculpting, or if I'm doing a paint up like airbrushing or whatever, do some live video. So I think what's really cool about the webcam is that if I do a live stream with the webcam, then I can actually film myself doing stuff. So I'm getting a better setup here slowly. So I think it's going to work out really good. I might have to readjust where the camera's placed, just to get it all figured out. So anyway, it's pretty cool. It's interesting. I'm just watching it all here on the monitors. So I figured I'd just spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes and do a test, and I'll actually work on the sculpture for a little bit while I'm talking. If you look on this side, you can see that it's actually the skin detail's done a lot more on that side. And this side, not sure. I'm going to see if I can bring it in more, just so you can see. If you look at the leg and stuff, well, front and back, they're not done, and only part of the skin detail and the stomach's done. And I noticed the tail's a little thin, so I gotta come in here and add a little bit to that tail. So that's actually what I'm mixing this for. Just kind of work on it as I'm going. So I did this the other night, the same test actually, and actually I thought it turned out really good. But then I realized that I hadn't set up the sound, so I actually filmed the test for probably over 20 minutes and did some sculpting and stuff, and realized there was no sound to it, so that kind of sucked. So I figured I'd remake this test, and like I said, I'll let it go for a little bit, and then I'll come back to it, check it out, make sure the sound's working. I can actually see some movement where it says mic / auxiliary, so that's a good sign. If anyone can't hear me or it sounds too loud or whatever, there's looks like there's a chat box, like a comment box, so you can write in there and let me know. So if you're wondering why I've been messing around with this clay for so long here, it's because it actually sometimes it takes a little while to get nice and warmed up. So, and it actually helps for sculpting when it's nice and warm and soft. You can get it applied to the sculpture better. When you're actually doing skin detail and stuff, you don't want it that soft, because it'll actually, some of your texture stamps will actually pull the clay back off, which really sucks. So you don't want that happening. So alright, so I'm going to rip off a little bit piece here. I'm actually going to grab the dinosaur. So I'm going to flip him upside down, take a look, see where. I think I only need half of this piece of clay right here. So I'm going to come in like this. I'm going to smooth it out here on the far side. Make sure it's all good this way. I'm going to flatten it in here. Kind of flatten it a little bit here. So, gotta get that all worked in. Switch sides here. Kind of want to do both sides evenly. I'll keep working on it as we go here. Make sure it looks good. The tail just looked a little bit too thin. I'm actually surprised I didn't notice that earlier. So that looks better. Looks a lot more even. The ceratopsians didn't really have very long tails, but their tails looked a little more thick than when I had it. So we'll look here, flip it around a little bit. Let's see, looks a little better. Looks the tapered part is a lot better on it. So that's the thing about sculpting, you know, you got to keep looking at it, keep going over it, making sure that it's good. Always rechecking your work. Sometimes it's also really handy to use this caliper, you know, in your like skeletons and stuff that you're measuring out. You put it over on the, do it like this, and measure your piece, and then check it on there. You know, just to kind of make sure you're doing everything right. So, yeah, it's starting to look better now. So, I'm going to see here. So, this is one of the texture stamps I made the other day. This one, I kind of made it nice and big and rounded so it fits in your thumb. So, just pressing it in like that. You can see, see right in there, the spot I just did. So, if you turn it the other way, you can get in here to the edges. This is actually a really fast way of making sculptures. A lot of people do it this way, but it's certainly the only way to make your skin detail. There's actually another way that I do sometimes. You'll probably see me do it here. I'll try and show a couple more things before I end the test video. If you notice I'm talking a little bit low and sniffling a little bit, that's because I got a mild cold going on. So, but I still wanted to check this out, get it going. It's something I'd like to do regularly. You know, start. You know, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever's good. I don't know. Feel free to leave me comments. So, let me know. I'm just sliding over here to the video. See if there's any comments. I see a chat side here. Oh, there we go. I moved the chat up a little bit more. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to get this all figured out. Oops, I just logged. Okay, there we go. So, anyway, I'm going to see if I can move this in a little more. If you look at the skin detail, you can see that it's on the leg, and then it's over here on the stomach a little bit. But you can see this little spot. I'm going to try and show in between here. It's going to be pretty hard to put skin detail in there with the with that texture stamp. There we go. You can see because the big lines in the skin. So what I like to do with that is use this right here. I know it kind of looks like nothing, but what it actually is just a little tiny piece of brass tube or metal tubing. Buy it from the hobby shop. Let's see how close I can get there. There we go. Wow, this thing actually does pretty good for zooming. And yeah, and then I like to do skin detail, and I'm going to see if I can zoom this in, and I'm going to try and do it on an angle. I just noticed a comment from somebody asking what kind of epoxy this is. This actually isn't epoxy that I'm sculpting with. This here is Super Sculpting. It's this stuff right here mixed with Sculpey Firm, the 50-50 mix. Takes a little while to do that, but the Firm Sculpey makes it a little bit longer, a little bit stronger. But you can get this stuff now. This is new. This is Super Sculpey Medium, and it's actually a mixture of the two. So you don't need to do the 50-50 mixture if you buy those. So definitely check that out. Now, what I will say is that underneath there is Abe's Epoxy Sculpt. And I don't actually have it with me. It's out in my garage because I'm working on another really huge project right now out there. So I've got it going on out there. But yeah, it's Epoxy Sculpt, and it works great. I put it underneath. It's kind of, my armature is built out of wood and wire, and then my first layer is Epoxy Sculpt. The reason why I do that is because it's super strong. So that way the sculpture doesn't, I find it doesn't do any, I find it doesn't crack. Like, I used to have problems with these sculptures cracking a lot when I first did this. And the two things that helped is obviously mixing the regular Super Sculpey with the Super Sculpey Firm. And then putting the Epoxy Sculpt underneath. Those two things have really helped it out a lot. So yeah, so that's what I use. Those are the two main things I use. Oh good, someone's giving me feedback about my oh good, the picture's clear, good focus, good. Thank you for letting me know that. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about this whole live streaming thing. I think it'll be really good. You know, the more I learn how to do it, and the more things I can film live. Because in most of my videos previous, I've done things, a few small things where I've showed people, but a lot of people have requested to have me filming myself actually airbrushing one of my dinosaurs, or actually sculpting one of my dinosaurs. So that's what I want to do. And the reason why I actually started this channel, to be honest with you, is because in the 90s when I started sculpting dinosaurs, there wasn't really too much resources out there. So, you know, it took me a long time to find out how to do things. You know, there was a lot of struggling, a lot of research, and back then it was a lot of books. I actually got into sculpting because I bought a book at Chapters or Indigo back in the day, and it was just called The Making of Jurassic Park, and I was reading the pre-production section and saw these crazy awesome pictures of sculptors making the dinosaurs. So I was like, well, I have to try that. So that's actually how I got into the whole sculpting thing. So, but yeah, it was really hard, poring over pictures. So I'm like, well, as I learn, I'm gonna make a YouTube channel and share it with other people, and so that way anybody who's interested can learn what I know. I mean, I'm not I'm by no means the top guy, but I'm always learning new techniques and willing to help other people who are trying to learn it. So yeah, so I'm gonna continue here. This is actually a recent discovery here of Wendiceratops pinoriensis. It was found by some people at the ROM, which is the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So they actually have it on display right now. It's really cool. If you're ever in the area, you should check it out. Here, I'll actually show you the head. This is the head here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Oh, there we go. That's good zoom. So, but I like to keep the head off when I'm working on the body. Just keeps it out of the way, because soon I have to lift it up and do some more work underneath. So yeah, I've got quite a few projects on the go right now. I got a Dinosaurus, which I just completed actually, and I'll show you one of the pieces I molded and casted. This is it's out of white smooth on, our smooth cast 300, so that's why it's really white. Probably hard to see, but it's actually been completed a couple months ago, and I'm waiting to cast the rest of it. So I've got that on the go right now. I also have a Yang Tyrannosaurus in the same scale, which I will show you the head and neck, which is completed. He's just kind of resting, and zoom in on him. There we go. So anyway, that's two. So yeah, I've got Dinosaurus and Yang Tyrannosaurus, both Chinese dinosaurs, which I find really fascinating actually. I think the Chinese dinosaurs are so cool. So yeah, so I'm trying to do actually. I think I'm going to do a line of Chinese dinosaurs in a 15th scale or an 18th scale, and then a couple of Canadian dinosaurs and other North American dinosaurs on the side. Yeah, so it'll be kind of interesting. I actually have a huge project in the garage right now. I'm trying to do a 1/20th scale Mamenchiasaurus. The full animal would be 115 feet long, so at a 20th scale, it's still, I believe, 69 inches long, so it's huge. Just noticed a comment here about heat curing or baking Sculpey. I think it all depends on what your small project is. For me, I would put an armature in probably just about anything, because I've had issues before with things cracking, even small stuff. Now I just made I did a commission paint job for someone, and they asked me to add. It was a huge mosasaur, like the one in Jurassic World, and they asked me to add for them a just a small plesiosaur kind of fleeing. So what I did with that to make that is I actually built a lot of the armature out of the epoxy sculpt. So if you're doing something small and say you're building a guy and his, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the best way to show you, if his main body was like, that big and the whole animal's that big, what I actually did was I just took a piece of tin foil and then I put epoxy sculpt around it, made it like a ball shape. Then I drilled into it when it hardens. That's the thing about epoxy sculpt. Again, super strong. Then I inserted the wire for the neck, the wire for the tail, and then I obviously added a little more tin foil and tape, and I used epoxy sculpt underneath all of that, and then I made the fins. I made the fins out of Sculpey and baked them, and then I just glued them on, and then I actually added Super Sculpey as the last layer on top of that. So you could go without making a full-on armature, but still anything that's over, I don't know, 5 inches, I'd build an armature, even if it's just a very simple, like, wire armature with a little bit of tin foil to bulk it out. Yeah, I'd definitely build an armature, because you know what, you're about to put some serious hard work into these things. Like, there's hours and hours and hours worth of work into this. So for me, I want to make sure that it doesn't break. That's a lot of work, and just to see it all busted up or cracked open is really disheartening. I've had it happen, especially when I was younger, when I started sculpting, and I did a beautiful Allosaurus in the 90s in out of regular Sculpey, which was a bad choice. Because regular Sculpey is not that strong, so yeah, it was a silly move for sure. Anyway, and yeah, it got huge cracks and actually split, and so my 6 months worth of work was garbage. So yeah, so if I were you, I would make your sculptures as strong as possible. And if you ever get into the business of selling them, as resin model kits, well, you're going to want them to be strong, because before they can become model kits, they have to be cut into pieces, pretty much. So it's kind of like purposely breaking them. So yeah, you definitely want to make them as strong as possible, because you just don't want to see them busted. So I hope that answers your question. A little bit of rambling, sorry about that. So what I just did right there is I rolled out some clay really small. You can see, like that, rolled into a ball and made like a skin fold halfway down the leg. The reason why I'm putting some skin folds down there is because that's where I plan to cut this model. Cut the sculpture in order to make it a resin model kit. And I want a nice line where I can cut into it, and it'll look it'll kind of look natural, because a lot of times you'll buy these resin model kits now, and they, or some of them, they're actually not so bad now, but back in the day, you'd get some, and they're cut straight across. As a matter of fact, I have a couple that I've sold in the past, and unfortunately, that's the way you had to cut it, because I didn't understand about how you could actually sculpt with the whole idea in mind of somebody, producing it into a resin model kit. So when I actually got it produced into the model kit, well, then it kind of looks silly. There's kind of a lump, there's kind of a lump in it because there's no spot. When you go to fill it, it kind of has a little bump. A popular vinyl model kit, you'll see that in that huge 1/19th scale Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus by Horizon. I don't know why they did it, but they probably just because of the size, but they had to cut the stomach into two sections. So when you're building that kit, like even the most experienced model builders, you can still see it. I actually have one sitting over on my shelf. Maybe next time I do one of these videos, I'll do it just kind of showing off one of the model kits. And by the way, you're welcome. I just noticed that you said thank you in there. So yeah, I like to answer questions. But yeah, we'll definitely do some build-ups, as part of a live show. That'd be cool. I actually have 2 Jurassic Park Dilophosauruses that I like to get built. Because another thing I like to do is actually enter in some of my projects to some of the model shows up here in Ontario. And, I've won a few awards for some of my paint-ups. I wouldn't say they're like the best out there, but they're not bad. So, and I don't know if anybody on here, I don't know if there's a link to my Facebook page, but I'm going to copy and paste that right now. Copy and paste it into the comments, so that if you want to see some of the things I've done, you can go right here. Oh, it said error, sending message, try again. I'm not sure why it did that. Oh, it won't do it. So yeah, for some reason it will not show anyway. If you look for Dinosaur Dungeon on Facebook, you'll find my Facebook page. You can see some of the paint-ups and build-ups and stuff that I've done, either for other people or for model contests or whatever. The page is only a week old, so you have to bear with me. I'm still trying to add stuff to it, and like I said too, I've got a lot of stuff on the go here, and so it's all a work in progress, but it will be done. Well, it'll never be done, but it'll get better with time, and pretty soon I'll make a website and stuff. Yeah, I love dinosaurs as a hobby, paleontology. This is alcohol. You can see I pour a little bit of it into this cup here. And one thing I like to do is, this is how I use it to smooth out everything. If you look over here, I added 2 skin folds, but they're kind of lumpy and bumpy and stuff, so what I do is go in, and you'll be able to see this in a minute, hopefully. and I smear them out a little bit. No, I don't really like that. That's just way too big of a fold for what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to actually cut that down a little bit. I've got quite a few tools here, so I'm going to go through all of it. But I think this one here would be a great one to cut it down. Dig into here. So there we go. So kind of cut that down a little bit. And, yeah, so that's a good way of smoothing out the clay. You might have seen people do that with like Chavant or the oil-based clays, but it actually works pretty good for super sculpey. You can smooth out clay. It actually works pretty good. So let me just check over here and see what's going on. Yeah, it will not send that. So what I'm going to do is see if I can I don't know if you guys can see, and please let me know if you can. I just added it into the description of the live stream, so I'm not sure, but if you can now see my Facebook page link, then let me know. I don't know if I have to I don't want to refresh the page because I don't want it to kick me out. So, but anyway, hopefully that worked out. So, and yeah, if you could visit it and check it out, and if you like it, well, that would be awesome. And if there's anything you'd like to see me add, then let me know. So I'm trying to link everything together too. I'm trying to make it so that you know, if I'm doing something over here on YouTube, then that page will say, and you know, if I'm going to do, like, I'd like to actually set these up so that I do them a couple of days ahead of time, or let everyone know that I'm going to do it a couple days before I do it. So yeah, so that's definitely look good over on that side. So this side here needs some more, little more work, so I'm going to smooth it out. Oh, nice. Okay, well, that's good. Google Plus. Yeah, I set that up a while ago. I forgot about that. I've heard some talks about Google Plus. I heard that some people were saying that they were going to get rid of Google Plus and stuff because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't doing what they wanted to do. It was supposed to be a whole like beat Facebook thing, I guess, or something like that. I'm not sure, but anyway, it obviously didn't do that. You know, Facebook is still alive and well, and obviously still #1. Yeah, you can pin them on Pinterest. I didn't know you could pin videos. So yeah, for sure, go ahead. You can feel free to pin them and share them. I don't know how you do that. Like, you can share I guess the link on Facebook so other people can check them out. That would be really awesome. So yeah, I'm really trying to get used to the whole social media for like sharing your hobbies and stuff like that. I mean, I've always like had Facebook. I know how to use it basically and stuff like that, but to actually sync everything together and stuff properly, you know, and kind of promote what you do is very interesting. And you know, when you have a personal Facebook account, you can use it for a little bit and then kind of take a break from it or whatever you want. But when you're trying to show people what you do, or you know, people get interested, and if you stop, then you know, people lose interest. So you kind of got to keep it going. So that's the whole thing with the social media. You gotta get yourself out there, right? Yep. So yeah, this guy's coming along pretty good actually. I'm happy with the progress. I think it should be done by next week, hopefully. All depends on the amount of time I get to spend on him. So I want to get him done, get the Yang Tyrannosaurus done, and then get working on the Wendiceratops and the life-size Carnotaurus bust. I'm not sure if any of you have watched that video yet, but you can see that I posted a video on my channel about building a life-size Carnotaurus bust. It's a crazy endeavor. I've wanted to build a life-size dinosaur for years, but I've always been nervous too. My main thing is I wasn't going to build it unless I could build it to look like a real dinosaur and not kind of, you know, you see a lot of these big foam dinosaurs and the skin detail just makes it look fake. So, you know, with me, I want to make something that looks, you know, a Jurassic Park style of realism. So that's my goal with that, and I think I've researched enough to get it somewhat to the area that I want to get it to. So I found some products to do so. So yeah, I'm really actually kind of excited and nervous about it at the same time. So yeah, it's a little intimidating. It's a little different than doing these guys, and of course, cost-wise, it's going to cost me quite a bit of money to do it. So that's another issue of how long it will actually take. Oh, some burrs here, so we're going to use the rubbing alcohol to smooth them out. So I'm using this tool. This one's kind of hard to show, you know, individually how good it's working because you're doing such tiny work. And if I take the camera down to show you, then it's bumping all over the place and stuff. So I'll do a little bit of work on this, then I'll see about lifting up. I'm going to try and spin it and actually do it this way. So what you're trying to do here, you're pressing in for skin detail, but you don't want to cross over. You gotta butt it up to the last scale perfectly and then press it in. And it makes some burrs of its own, but that's okay because that's where that awesome technique of the rubbing alcohol comes in. Now, actually, I did not know anything about the rubbing alcohol, believe it or not, until I think just about a year ago. I was watching a video from Stan Winston's School of Character Arts, which is absolutely amazing, by the way. If you ever want to know anything about sculpting, painting, anything to do with the whole movie industry or art business, definitely check them out. But anyway, I was watching, I think I can't remember what it was called, something about the whole garage kit. Anyway, it was with Shannon Shea, who's pretty well known for his work in Jurassic Park and other things to do with Stan Winston. And he was making a dinosaur, and he was actually sculpting with Sculpey in the video, and he did the alcohol trick for smoothing it off, and I couldn't believe it. I know it sounds like so simple, like so many people probably knew it, but I was like, wow, that's crazy. I wish I had known that, before the other two dinosaurs that I had done previous to that, because there was something about them that just didn't, the skin detail was good, but not as good as these ones I've got going now. Because that whole thing just smoothing it out, and then just trying different techniques with newer tools, things that I hadn't even tried before. Sometimes we get into doing things so much, and we buy all these things and stuff and start doing stuff, and we actually forget about some of the things that we have. And I actually went back in to my little tools. Here are my sculpting tools. I don't have them all separated now, but there's a lot more than the few you see on the table here. And went back and tried some. I bought them in sets and stuff, and hadn't even tried half of them. So instead of going out and buying more, I just started using the ones that I had, and then watching Shannon Shea talk about making your own sculpting tools, great idea. So anyway, after watching that, I went back and found this texturing brush. Yeah, it's probably not going to zoom in. You get the idea. That's just too small. But yeah, so I started using it, and I'm like, this is great, man. I didn't even, you rake it and it cleans up all the bumps and stuff, makes it really smooth. So I'm like, wow, that's awesome. But it's, it's flimsy and messy. So I went back and actually made a couple of my own. Here's one with some like floral wire, I think it was. I can't remember now what it was called, but yeah. And then I made another one with some larger wire, and so I kind of made my own texturing brushes, and you know what? They work great for sculpting fur and stuff like that. So yeah, so many tricks. So if you're wanting to know more, always look for YouTube videos like this. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, watching other people's work and things they do, and I always appreciate the fact that people put stuff on YouTube, kind of share what they know instead of like, oh, that's my secret or whatever. And then of course look for things like Stan Winston School of Character Arts. That, like I said, I can't rave about those guys enough. Like, I think it's absolutely awesome that Stan's son Matt went and created that whole thing. Kind of unlocking all the secrets of how they do things, and so people like me can do the whole garage kit thing. And there's a lot of people that are retiring from that business, and now young people can get into it and, follow along in their footsteps. So, yeah. So it's great. I think that's the best part about doing the whole live thing as opposed to just making a normal YouTube video. See, if I was making a normal YouTube video, I would have talked about one thing. Any questions would have went in the comments or whatever, and you would have either waited or, this way you get a kind of an explanation. So, yeah. It's almost time to shut her down. I was actually planning on doing this for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I believe the timer says that I've done it for over 46 minutes, so that's not bad. So, what I need to do is figure out a way to spread the word more. Get a bunch of people checking it out, a bunch of new people. I'm thinking what I do is maybe do that thing where you can pay a couple bucks a day or whatever for the whole Facebook page thing and get it like a sponsored Facebook thing. So, and then that way it will show up, and then people, I guess, with a lot more people adding it, then hopefully we'll get more viewers. Sorry if I sound distracted. I'm just checking the computer thing out here for a minute. So, sometimes it gets a little lower here. Check something on my phone here. There we go. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do this before I go. It's really hard to zoom into where I want. Come on. It likes to fall. There you go. There. You can kind of see the lines now. Or sorry, all the little scales and the lines here. So, anyway, I'm going to pull it back out because it's not working so well. But that's where the other technique comes in. Again, different sizes. There's a giant one, a medium one. So, get these brass tubes. Squeeze them with some pliers, bend them, make them so they're not completely cylinder shaped, and you press them in, and then they make wonderful skin detail. See, if you press it in, press it in, press it in. Just going to do a couple of them here quickly to show. I actually do have a video about skin detail already on my thing, but not. Figure if someone's watching right now, why not show them? This is kind of burning up on me because I'm just doing a quick test. But there you can see right in here. There we go. But it still looks like crap. So I'm going to go like this. And we'll smooth it over. No. Oh. You got the idea though, right? So anyway, I'll have to figure out the whole zoom issue at some point. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I will definitely post more stuff, and we'll see you soon.